Hello everyone, it's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Tope Mark Odige, and with me as usual are the ladies. Good morning.
Excellent morning.
So our banter is gone, had technical issues, but Bisi, you look so beautiful. I'm just jealous of your hair.
Thank you.
Why?
Entrepreneur on heels.
I was looking for something very simple, but like you went all the way.
Yeah, I have
full
my
glam.
boots. Yeah, I have my
So
boots.
this is Christmas. For those of you thinking of Christmas hair by Bisi, just just hook you up.
House of BC too.
House of
Seriously,
I'm telling you.
Mariam, you didn't say. I was admiring.
Thank you, but I have really quick banter.
Okay.
So yesterday I was talking about the traffic on that bridge coming to the mainland and those that were taking diversions to the island. And I see today it was a lot better. LASMA officials were there, police officers were there. So thank you very much, Lagos State, for listening. Because traffic was a lot better today. Yeah.
Good to hear about that. I also have been very favored with coming back from Ibadan, so I haven't been on the show. Plenty people have sent messages. I'm fine. Thanks for checking in, because I traveled to Ibadan and went to check on the farm and all that's happening there. But I'm really grateful to God. You know, there's this feeling of when you're working towards something big, and you might not have it all together yet, but you can see progress. Like as little as seeing cassava blooming. It was so, we were so excited, like, okay, 50 acres of cassava blooming, target is 300 before the end of the month, that we should sort out 300 acres of cassava. And like, we're praying, but we're seeing progress. And I'm really grateful to God for the opportunity. But we have to rush because we had technical issues. We couldn't do our banter. But then after a quick break, we'll go into the newspaper review. So stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Welcome back. We'll be starting off newspaper review with The Nation major headline. Senate. Buhari government has failed to secure Nigerians. The rep resolves to invite presidency after a rowdy session. Borno death toll now 67, and set remains degraded. Judiciary tops corruption index with 9.4 billion bribes. The Police Security Council, is it Security Council? Yeah.
Police Service Commission?
The Police Service Commission, thank you. Police Service Commission, 925 names smuggled into the police constable recruitment list. Voting opens in Ghana as general election. Senate clears Yakub for second term as INEC chair, and dollar savers offload deposits as Naira exchange for 490 to a dollar. 5 children missing from Stella Obasanjo's orphanage, and 1 man dies. Many injured as hoodlums clash in Ibadan. So
Okay, so I have the judiciary tops.
Please.
Yes, so the ICPC yesterday said they've been doing a survey, and it shows that the judiciary tops the Nigerian corruption index between 2018 and 2020. It says that in this period, over 9 billion was offered as bribe and paid as bribe by lawyers. About 6 female judges reported to have been offered over 3 billion naira. 5 male judges reported to have been offered over 392 million naira. So the survey, of course, is just to help all the stakeholders involved, like where this is, where corruption is most rampant, and it shows that a lot of this, most of the corruption bribery offers had to do with election matters. So they're hoping that with this information, we're able to indicate specifically the places that we should focus on in fighting.
Many Nigerians always felt that the judiciary is corrupt, but we didn't know how bad it was.
But also said that we're all complicit, private and public sector is complicit in corruption in
taking responsibility.
So,
Police Service Commission?
Yeah, the Police Service Commission are refuting allegations that they were withholding payments of some constables. So the spokesman has spoken and said that it wasn't like they were withholding any salaries of constables. It's just that they had a recruitment for 10,000 constables, and 925 of them were illegally smuggled in. So they did not go through the test, they did not do any form of examinations, they were not screened.
Who smuggled them in?
Okay, I think they had an issue between the Police Service Commission and the Nigerian Police Force. So the Nigerian police force wanted to take over the recruitment, but then the Police Service Commission had gotten a judgment from the courts which has given them the constitutional right to carry out the recruitment. So they are saying that because they have trained this 925 who were not initially, gotten in to work there, that they are just going to leave them. They have gone through the armory training, they've gone through all of the medical exams.
They found out that
so they are going to find a way to absolve them, but those ones who still show criminal tendencies will be removed at the end of the day. So it's going to be costing them more.
Sadly, yesterday one man died. There was clash in Ibadan, and they said that hoodlums had been threatening to attack each other since. And I've been in Ibadan for the past few days. I know that the lack of security personnel presence has led to major gridlock and breakdown of law and order. So they're saying now that the security personnel stepped in, thankfully, though about 700 were injured, trying to escape. They fought with machetes, pistols, locally made pistols, animal bones, clubs to stab people. Many were injured, 700 according to what I'm reading here in The Nation. And really, we cannot wait for the police to be back on the street in full capacity to help secure our lives better. Moving on to Daily Sun, major headline. Insecurity in the Northeast. Senator K's mercenaries to fight Boko Haram. Rep summons Buhari, demands sack of service chiefs. Massacre will continue until they go. That's from the northern leaders. Calls out of place from the presidency. Attack on rice farmers, death toll rises to 67. Excuses for killing no longer tolerated. That's from Lawan. Panel orders arrest of ex-DPO over murder of Uniben students. Lawan Abarabe, trade words over 2019 poll. Senate confirms Yakubu INEC boss. Restructuring Nigeria must. That's from El Rufai. NNPC spends 3 trillion naira on petrol subsidy. Ohanese's leadership not for sale. That's from Umudo. So what story? Let's start with the Ohanese story.
Okay, all right. So there's been this viral letter that's been going around, supposedly written by the Miyetti Allah, directed to the Ohanese ND, was saying that because there's this election for their leadership that's about to happen. So the letter was addressed to the leadership, thanking the leadership for all their strength and everything, and asking that they put one Judge Obiozo from Imo State to that position. So the Nyanwodona, who's the leadership of Ohanese ND, was saying that this letter that is even going viral, I've not even seen it at all. That if that letter was really from Miyetti Allah, they would have gotten my address right, because the address in that letter was wrong. So he's saying that Ohanese ND is not for sale. So I'm going to only conduct elections with people who bought the form, people who indicated interest in leadership, and whoever wins will win. So Miyetti Allah cannot tell us what we are to do in that organization.
So major headline is House of Reps, discussing the insecurity, and the two factions yesterday. First of all, was described as a rugby session. Of course, the people for inviting the president to come and just respond to the questions concerning insecurity and fighting the insurgents in Borno State, or in the Northeast in general, given the death toll. I think it's risen now, they said, from 43 to 67 in Borno State. And so there's a faction that says the president needs to come and respond to questions, especially as it concerns the service chiefs, if they're still going to be there, why they should still be there, changing them. But there's another faction that says that the president does not need to be there, and that when it comes to security issues, the House of Reps is not the floor in which to discuss things like this. So, but I think they passed the motion that he should be invited.
So I want to take the story of President Buhari seeking solutions to reusing gas. Said that NNPC spends 1 trillion on petrol subsidy, but I read the story and I can't see why we're doing what the reason for the petrol subsidy is when we're taking that subsidy. But I realized that because of the dollar exchange, we still have a bit of subsidy, but on the NNPC side alone. But the president was speaking at the virtual State House meeting, and he said that we should embrace, we have a large deposit of gas, and so we should embrace gas alternatives. But I'm just waiting for, we already have a policy, it's about implementation, because we don't have enough facility to process the gas. That's why we're not using it. We still flare and waste gas to a large extent, and we don't have enough facility to process it. And we haven't even started moving vehicles from petrol to alternative of using gas. I thought that directive was given a few months back. It was already given, yeah. So we're waiting for implementation. It's not really, the ball isn't in our court. We're waiting for the presidency to execute. Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune, major headline, Borno massacre. Angry senators again want service chief sacked. Reps to invite Buhari, tax Buhari's administration, a failure over insecurity. Calls for probe of $1 billion arms procurement fund. Senate confirms Yakubu as INEC chair for another 5 years. Reps to probe the alleged fraud of IPPIS, queries Finance Minister AGF. Ex-pension boss may not to be extradited to Nigeria soon from the police. Police arrest suspected killer of Nasarawa APC chairman. At the afternoon of praise tribute, Pastor recounts how Oyediro effected release of 10 prisoners, Oshibajo, Amusun, Ajimobi, Awolowo, Dosumu. Others laud her kindness and service to humanity. And how man lost right eye in prison officers. Okada riders clash in Ibadan. Has 1 week to raise 7 million to save left eye, and federal government tackles UK Parliament over attack on Gowon. So what story are we taking? How the man lost his eye?
No, the police has arrested the suspected killer of the Philip Shekel. That was the chairman of the APC in Nasarawa State. Remember sometime earlier in November, he was kidnapped and then found dead. Obviously had been murdered. And so this person called Mohammed Usman has been arrested. So he's suspected to have been the killer because he actually confessed to the crime. So he's also a well-known armed robber and kidnapper. So would see.
The man who lost his eye quickly.
Yes.
So this happened in Ibadan while he just dropped, he's an Okada rider, dropped his bike in front of the prisons to pick up a customer, and then the warden comes out to seize the vehicle, seize the bike. Why are you dropping your bike here? And then there were some soldiers who were standing in front who normally guard prisons. So he went in to beg them to help him, plead to the warden to release his bike. And that one gave him a punch in the eye, first of all, for bringing, for asking, reporting him to the soldiers. And then, some other Okada riders came in to rescue him and all of that. Before we knew it, they brought out tear gas. There was a gun fired, and that gun shot him at his eye. The tear gas was directed to his eye as well. He has lost one eye already. He's in the hospital right now.
So the struggle is to regain the second eye.
Yeah, so he needs money, and he's pleading with
7 million.
Yes, pleading with the federal government that people should come to his aid. He's a 37-year-old man who is hustling for his life.
I'm hoping the governor will sit up. That's all we're talking on the front page for today. Next, the Senate calls for the sack of service chiefs. We'll discuss more on this after the short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're in the Yuletide season. It's usually around this time, security is worrisome, but it's even more so right now because over the past few months of lockdown, based on the pandemic, we've had challenges. People don't have work. And then with the NSAS protest and the hoodlums attack that has taken place, people are far more worried right now about approaching this season and how we should respond to it. We have a national security strategist, Vince Onyekwelu, on the show with us via phone, and he'll be shedding light on how we can do what we can do on our own parts to secure ourselves, and probably even share more stories on how to advise people and our leaders on what policies they can put in place to help secure us better. So first thing I'm going to ask, Mr. Vince, are you there? Okay. All right, sir. I couldn't hear you, but I know that they say you're there. So obviously, we'll go ahead with the main question everybody has. Things are expensive. There's a large, as in the insecurity right now is visibly in our faces. You drive by and a group of guys would mob you in your car. What are the basic things individuals can do to help increase our sense of security and protect ourselves?
Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you hear my question, though?
I can hear you continue to ask
Okay.
your question.
So let me start by saying, since I'm just hearing from you, let me start by saying compliments of the season. But this season also brings in insecurity challenges. So what are the basic things we can do to protect ourselves in this season?
First of all, I think the upcoming Christmas season calls for most of us to be very careful.
Yeah.
I said because number one, the Nigeria of today, security-wise, is so unsafe. So, and that will be coupled with the fact that we are coming to the Christmas season, the end of year season, when the people are so desperate to make all the money that they failed to make in the past 11 months.
Sure.
And most of them believe that this last month of the year is the best time to cause the destination to make all this money. We have to be very careful. That's two. Number three, we also happen to be in recession economically, and being a recession, yes, little money circulating around. So everybody is trying to keep smart, dangerous, and the thieves and the thugs and armed robbers and the citizens are thinking of what they do to us. So first of all, for us to keep safe, my first advice would be to our mothers, our sisters, our women. Most of them need to be careful because they carry their handbag. Their handbag is a very strong attraction to all these petty thieves and armed robbers and pickpockets. So when you carry your handbag, carry the old school when you carry it across your shoulder. So you can be able of your handbag. And number two, be careful where you keep when you answer your phone. There's a new one that was very involved in Abuja some months ago. While you're answering your phone, even walking or while driving a vehicle or while a passenger in a vehicle, somebody can come out of the corner, snatch your phone off your hand, and run into the beach. So be careful where you answer your phone calls. When your phone rings, if it's an expensive phone most of the time, please look right and left before you answer the phone. Especially if you're a passenger in a vehicle or driving a vehicle. Because once they grab the phone, when you twist your wrist, they can even break your wrist and they're going to run off. And number three, for our sisters that drive a car, most women, when they drive in a car, they have this natural force to keep their handbag on the passenger seat if they are driving alone. And when they keep their handbag on the passenger seat next to them, most of the time, their windows are not wound up. Most of the time, their doors are open. That is dangerous at this period of time, and even at any time. When you do that, you are very vulnerable for somebody to open your vehicle, grab your handbag, and off you with all your documents, with your telephone devices, with your bank card and your cash. So always pin down your doors, your four doors. Don't keep your handbag on the front passenger seat if you're driving as a woman or even any person. Take your handbag and keep them behind on the floor of the front seat or even on the floor of the front passenger seat. Now it's out of anybody's visibility. Pin your four doors down. If you have an air conditioner, use it. If you don't, wind your glasses only an inch or 2 inches from the up. You can still have fresh air from your four windows, but don't allow more than 2 inches back. That protects the seat. Nobody can put their hand through your window to try to open your car door or even pick up your handbag because you cannot pass out of the open window. Then, when it comes to most of the people that will travel this season, please spend your money according to what you can spend. Do not be desperate to satisfy or impress anybody. That's how the mindset of criminality comes on board. I want to go to the village. I need to buy a new car, change my wardrobe, and that puts pressure on you to do any kind of criminality to be able to fulfill that dream. Live within your margin. It's a recession economy. You will not be impressing anybody. People are broke. Do not spend more than you can this Christmas season. Because in January, February, it's going to be worse than what we have now.
So
people will be thinking about paying house rent. People will be thinking about how to feed their family. And then the schools are coming.
So true. Taking it
Know where you buy your petrol.
So let's take it broader to the entire country. Mariam has a question.
Yes, so thank you for these tips. I think they're definitely important. But then there's some group of people, some people in other parts of the country who their challenges are a little different from what we would experience, maybe, say, Lagos State. So we have people who are traveling from one city to the other, especially in the north, where we hear a lot of incidents of kidnapping. People are traveling from school to home, you know, or they're traveling from one state to the other. We hear especially the Kaduna-Abuja road, where there's been lots of kidnapping going on. I mean, what these tips wouldn't seem, you know, relevant in this situation, but what advice do we have?
Okay, beautiful. Obviously, tips of safety and security are unique to areas, so you cannot copy and paste what happens in Lagos into what happens on Abu Kaduna Expressway. So let's come down to Abu Kaduna Expressway. Number one, many schools of thought, not my own thinking, but many schools of thought believe that majority of Nigerians have lost trust and confidence in our security architecture. When you lose trust and confidence in the national security architecture, it shows that the leadership of the security chiefs have failed people. Now, in the absence of trust and confidence, if you're going to be traveling along those routes, number one, please do not tailgate. When I say tailgate, most of the Nigerians don't actually go to driving schools. They just learn how to drive. When I say tailgate, do not drive behind a vehicle so close to the back of the boot that you are unable to see the back two tires of that vehicle in front of you. When you do that, you are too close. If there's a plan to kidnap you, if some other vehicle comes to your back and also drive close to you behind you, you will not be able to drive off. You will not be able to escape, because already you trap yourself by tailgating on the vehicle in front of you. To avoid tailgate, give at least 5 feet or thereabouts, so you can basically see the two back tires of the vehicle in front of you. That will give you a chance, in case of any emergency, you can decide to turn left to drive away or turn right to drive away.
This cannot work in Lagos, yeah. This is not for us Lagosians, but we understand.
Kaduna Expressway also, be careful how you stop. If you're carrying a passenger you pick up on the road, be careful about picking up passengers on the road. And if they ask you to stop in a funny place for them to ease themselves, please say no. You have a right not to stop in ungoverned spaces. Look for the nearest military checkpoint.
The conversation will continue, but what we'll just do is we'll take a quick break. The tips, Mr. Onyekwelu, I'll just cut you in a little bit right now. Let's take a break, commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue on how to deal with the insecurity challenges, especially outside Lagos, and those that are suffering the insurgency attacks right now. We'll go there when we come back from this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Bisi was going to lead us into...
Yes, so I'm sure you are aware of what happened in Borno recently, and there've been talks. There've been talks about it. The Senate was, breathing fire about it, and they were certain suggestions that came up, and one of them was to hire mercenaries to probably help out the army. So, in your opinion, do you think hiring mercenaries to help solve the problem of insurgency in the Northeast is the way to go right now, seeing that we do not even have enough funds for the army in the first place? Who is going to be paying the mercenaries? Do you think that's like the direction we should be looking right now?
Honestly, it beggars belief. When I heard the suggestion by mercenaries, it beggars belief that in a lovely, wonderful country like ours, gradually and steadily allowed the people in the corridors of power to deceive us mentally, intellectually, that they keep promising us to give us basic security, and that's making millions and billions of money off us, and keep trusting them. On the other side, I respect the opinion of His Excellency Governor Zulu, this is against a man that inherited a very tough territory.
Yeah.
Where is the past governor of Borno State now? When I talk about national security, I will discuss with you professionally, historically, and passionately, and on the best way forward. Where is the past governor of Borno State? When all this rubbish was going on, he was there. Today, he's enjoying his days as a Senate. Should that kind of a person be in the Senate looking at the humongous failure of the vacuum of insecurity he left in Borno State? So I do not blame His Excellency Governor Zulu, because he's been under physical attack from terrorists also. He had a very strong exchange of words between him and the military. So for him to call for mercenaries to be hired, my sister, there are 2 or 3 things that come to my mind. If you bring those mercenaries, who are they going to be? Are they going to be Nigerians or the same foreigners that many schools of thought believe that most of those criminals are coming from the Central African Republic, from Mali, where they are having serious issues and are looking for a new homeland? This is what some schools of thought have said. So who are these mercenaries going to? Are they going to be people like you and me, our brothers, our sisters, or are they going to bring unknown elements, fund them financially, give them dangerous weapons, show them our territorial integrity, show them our back street, and as usual, there will be that chance that they will not be paid in full. If you understand what I mean, paid in full, change them, and when you change them, they will not be happy to leave after their service year has expired. They form their own paramilitary, form their own banditry gang, and sort of torment us again. And for him to lose the trust, I talk about trust and confidence in the past. That is, the Zulu, like many other people, have lost confidence. They've lost trust. And before I conclude, once again, Governor Zulu also asked for his people to be, for the civilian to be employed in the military. And I love the wonderful response that the Major General gave, Major General NHS, said it's not within the purview of the military to employ people from Borno State alone within the military. That's a wonderful response, because you cannot do that. Because there is no assurance that bringing to the military or bringing people to the NPDC that will guarantee us safety. The bottom line is our safety structure has failed, and the military, with all due respect, we should stop the military from making us believe that they are the solution we seek.
Mr. Onyekwelu, did you agree with bringing in, because I'm trying to get your clear answer, did you agree with bringing in mercenaries? Do you believe that that might be a solution? Because what you did was to extensively highlight the problems that might still come up with having them, that how we pay them, would they be able to, can we sustain them, those issues. So do you agree we should bring in mercenaries, or do you think that we should go the route of fire service chiefs, replace them, try to increase trust in the security system?
No. I do not support the idea of bringing mercenaries.
Okay.
No, because he never specified if these mercenaries are going to come from within Nigeria or from outside Nigeria. So with that kind of gap, I would say no. Until we bring more clarity into this, then we can now test it. But based on what's on ground, nobody should bring mercenaries to solve a basic security issue that we can solve if we are dedicated.
So, Mr. Onyekwelu, so what would your recommendation be if you were sought, for advice? What would you say?
My recommendation would be that, number one, the people like Major General Basiru that was marshaled yesterday and demoted by the Army Marshal Corps should not be court-martialed and demoted because he spoke truth to power. My recommendation would be the other army officers that have had the guts and the courage to speak about poor equipment supply, poor management of their motivation to fight the war against insurgency. My suggestion would be that they should not be oppressed and suppressed and intimidated. My recommendation would be that the Chief of Army Staff, with all due respect, should have gone since day before yesterday. Pay attention. I think he has spent about 39 days in the military, which is supposed to spend 35 years in the military or in the civil service. But he had a quiet birthday last week. I wish him a very happy birthday. He's a good man. But he has spent about 39 years in service. And why would he give a man for extra 4 years when the people are crying that they are being killed? Except, like some schools of thought said, not me, that maybe he's delivering the kind of security that those are put in there to deliver, the kind of security that benefits them. I also recommend that Chief of Air Staff should have gone there before yesterday because of the...
But we were out of time. We need to take a break. I just wanted you to say, do you want the service chiefs fired? Do you agree with them? That was the simple question. Okay.
Yes,
So let me
they should be fired. Yes, I support the Senate.
let me wrap up with that. Let me wrap up with that, because that means you support the Senate in that regard, but you don't support them in the mercenary side of their suggestions. Thank you so much for being with us on the show. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we continue in the line of how to protect ourselves as Nigerians and how the government can protect us better. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Right now, we're bringing in the Senate spokesman, Surajudeen Basiru. And we want to ask him, still in the line of the conversation, senators said that we should bring in, some of the senators agreed that we should bring in mercenaries. Most of them have called for the sack of service chiefs. What is your perspective, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think the mood of the Senate yesterday is reflective of the mood of the country as to the need for us to be alive to the personal responsibility which is provided in the Constitution. And that is the primary purpose of government is security and welfare of the people. And you can see that the discussion and the debate at the Senate yesterday was not on partisan lines. The senators from the ruling party, the APC, and opposition were unanimous on the need to take to task the government on the need to provide adequate security. And the several resolutions of the Senate were treated, particularly on the need to re-engineer the leadership of the Nigerian armed forces, which has led to the stating the call for the sack of the service chiefs. And of course, apart from this, there are also some resolutions on the need to strengthen the military by increasing capacity, both in terms of the men and officers, but also in terms of equipment. And aside this, the issue of even transparency of what has been allocated to procurement of arms and for the military operations also need, to be looked into to ensure probity and that inefficiency and corruption is not the basis that is affecting the effectiveness of the fight against Boko Haram insurgency. And the high point is that the leadership of the National Assembly are also enjoined to really interface with the presidency on the implementation of the resolution. And of course, the severity of the situation led the Senate to consider that instead of just attachment to the issue of national pride, the issue of security is very important, and the executive was also counseled that if need be, they may have to get assistance from the tech contractors, which people call machinery. And if you discover that in the current situation, you ask what is conventional warfare on our hands, when military giants like the United States had similar situations in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and in Iraq, fighting against ISIL, also, in some parts of Syria, they have to resort to unconventional means of ensuring success in those actions. This is not a time where we will place what is called national pride over and above national security and survival of our country.
All right, sir. So there's been speculations that it seems like we're still struggling with insecurity because the leadership, the government does not have the political will to end insurgency, that they really know what to do. And these speculations go as far as saying that even the military is compromised because people cannot explain why an attack will happen. It will take hours, and nobody was aware. No member of the military, no security, even when they are a few kilometers away, they are not aware that something like this is happening till the people come in, Boko Haram comes in and goes, and nothing is done about it. Do you think that there's this that there are some political persons who are protecting their interests, and that's why they are not fighting this the way it should have been fought?
I wouldn't agree with that position. First and foremost, no reasonable government and no reasonable patriots would sit back and say that they want to make compromises with issue of security. The question is that what would be the advantage to derive from security from that compromise? I would rather say that the nature of insurgency is different from conventional war. Insurgents always look for the easiest target, or at times what they call soft target. As you can see, attacking farmers on the beach is a soft target because there will be a list of resistance if there will be any on the part of the harmless farmers. Secondly, insurgents also act in a constructive manner, secretly, and trying to see that they are not even confronted. What I think rather is that why the terrorists are calling for the expansion of the forces in the places where the country is riddled with Boko Haram insurgency is that there will be enough personnel, particularly there will also be enough persons to assist with intelligence gathering. Without information being adequate and getting what information, the country will definitely be hampered and meet the hampered in being able to ask information, respond adequately to detect and detect possible attack, particularly on some targets like farm. But of course, as the National Assembly, it's very important for us to build our flashlight on utilization of resources already allocated to fight against the insurgency. And that was why yesterday, one of the highlights of our resolution is that $1 billion assigned for procurement of arms and the manpower capacity should also be probed so that we can look at whether there are instances of inefficiency and corruption. If these are in place, definitely there will be a problem affecting the rate. And of course, the keepers, surveillance, and intelligence gathering are key to success in fighting an insurgency. Insurgency is not a typical war, a war without border, a war without frontier, a war without an established rule of engagement. It is all of these factors. So you need capacity, you need intelligence, and of course you need commitment. And you also need to put the morale of the men and officers to ensure that they take the battle to the opponent.
Mr. Senator, let's just go back to, the core role that the legislature plays, and given again the recommendations that you have made based on the events of the last few days about the sacking of service chiefs. We know that this is not the first time that this call has been made by the legislature. It's been made in January, in July, and now again. And I'm wondering if it is not heeded to this time around, what would be the next step that the legislature would take?
Yes, I like the fact that you were able to recollect that the Senate has been consistent in addressing the issue of insecurity. In fact, in the past 1 year, the Senate has considered this issue more than enough time. I believe that the Senate resolution, even though it says to be of persuasive authority and not legally binding, I think it will prepare us if it is taken and it continues to be taken with levity by the executive. It is because the Senate is an amalgamation of representation of the people on an equal basis across the country. So I will enjoy the president to attend it, and contrary to what one of the persons of President Basiru saying, treating the resolution as if it's coming from opposition. I think this is also because the National Assembly has the majority of APC. So if the Senate is coming on with the resolution, it is not out of opposition to the government, but out of patriotism and to their commitment to the success of our government, which also includes the executive arm. And of course, we have also enjoyed our leadership to interface on the enforcement of this resolution. Being a politician, I would say that there are different options to ensure compliance and to ensure that we move forward on this security, but they are not matters that I think is just to discuss on the television.
Okay, sir. Thank you. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back to you. I've been speaking with the Senate spokesman, Senator Surajudeen Basiru. And when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still talking to the Senate spokesman, Senator Basiru. Thanks for staying with us. But, Senator, I wanted to... BC has a question for you, but let me let BC go first.
Okay. So, Senator, I want to ask you, in your opinion, do you think that the military is equipped enough to handle insurgency if we are really serious about handling it? Or do you think that there are certain things we still need to sort out with the military in terms of welfare, funding, and the likes?
Yes, I will say that I'm not an expert in military affairs. So my opinion will definitely be based on what I thought, maybe on my reading. As I told you, the subject is a different kind of warfare, which is not like normal warfare. So in this regard, it's part of a strategy, different from conventional war. But I believe that things are particularly when the African continent was doing liberation war, and the conventional military also have developed counter-insurgency approaches. But as it was, it appears that the country may need international cooperation in being able to deal with the current challenges that we have. So we need to forge a better relationship with the military of our neighbor, so that, of course, our border movement will be limited by having joint operations across the border. Secondly, internationally, I believe many countries who have faced challenges have made use of expertise of defense contractors. And just as I said before, the question of the national pride should not make us not to look in that gap. Because I saw today in class to say that the Senate is calling for use of machinery. Machinery are useful tools to repair insurgency, and we should not put our eyes. Of course, in terms of equipment, surveillance equipment, monitoring equipment are very crucial in tackling the kind of military challenge that we face. Because on a conventional war, this is a war without frontier. This is a war that the opponent can just come in, look at us, and hit at the time when we need expecting. It's also very important to talk about the welfare of the personnel. And of course, they also need to be assured that whatever happens at the workshop, their family and the outreach will not, be left unattended to. So it's a combination of improving the morale, ensuring necessary equipment, and having the capability, not only in terms of strength, but in terms of knowledge to be able to do so. And that's why I'm supportive of part of our resolution that we need to have at least 10,000 personnel recruited, particularly in body army, to be able to complement whatever the military is doing in that regard.
So, sir, from the conversation, your statements before we went to the break, it seemed like there was a seeming disconnect between the executives and the legislature, because I know you kept saying that this legislature is largely APC, so the presidency should understand that you're speaking for the people. But in between this executive and legislature getting on the same page, we are having security, which is a primary function of the government, suffering, and helpless citizens like the 67 that just died in Borno gone, and many others that have happened in the course of this year. So how do you as a spokesperson speaking on behalf of the Senate, how do you see an effective relationship between legislature and the executive bringing us security for Nigerians?
As far as the National Assembly is concerned, we believe that there should be a harmonious relationship between the executive and legislative arm. But the reality is that there appears to be lack of understanding of concern of the legislative arm by the executive, particularly as relates to the issue of security. And that is why the legislative regulations that have been passed by the legislature have not been implemented. And as people who are close to the people, we are saying what the members of the public are saying, what our constituents desire, and what will allow us to be able to be alive to our responsibility to upholding the Constitution. So I believe that the recent efforts of getting leadership to meet with the executive will be able to get a planning on this. But notwithstanding that they are members of the state party with the president, I think from what happened yesterday, the Senate has shown that we are not going to start in the responsibility of speaking, keep the power of holding and working in line with our constitutional mandate to defend the Constitution, particularly Section 14(1)(b) of the Legislative Constitution in Chapter 2 that says that security and welfare of the people is the paramount purpose of government. And I also think that it's very imperative for the presidency to also read in some of the people that speak on behalf of the presidency. Even before our resolutions were out, somebody in the presidency already saying that the president has the presidency to keep the service chief. These elected representatives of people who are elected on the same platform as the president are taking what obviously is the demand of the Nigerian people, which is gratuitous insult to make that difference. And I hope this forward, the presidency would address the question of apparent lack of empathy on behalf of some of these persons.
Okay, sir. Mariam has a question for you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Senator, I was just wondering concerning, I know that concerning the way forward, especially with, I go back again to the sacking of service chiefs, the legislature's hand is sort of tied because constitutionally it gives the sole authority, the Constitution gives the sole authority to the president to hire and fire service chiefs. Now, given all that has happened, going forward, do you think that the Senate and House of Reps will be sitting down to amend the Constitution, just going forward in case we find ourselves in a situation like this?
Yes, I think the development of Constitution is actually based on a fear. I perfectly agree with you
that it appears that there is need for personal and possibly legal amendments to ensure that the representative of the people have to say in some of these kind of situations. And I believe that this is a good time because constitutional review efforts is just coming underway at the National Assembly. It might not be to say that in this kind of situation, the majority of the people will become effective in addressing this situation. Maybe a high percentage of quorum or vote will be required to use accomplish it so that there will be also not whereby the service will be under fear of being used abruptly or political grounds.
All right, sir. May
question.
I ask what the Senate is doing about state policing? Is it not obvious that we need state policing right now?
Well, out of time, sir, so we'd like you to keep it short, sir.
I certainly agree with you that we need state police. Our senator representing Osun Central are already introduced the bill, which are passed second reading and now before the Constitutional Review Committee on the meeting. The security situation in Nigeria cannot be addressed by a military police under the command of an Inspector General of Police. In fact, the state at the security service head at the last year came up with the position that there was the decentralization to non-zonalized operationally and budgetarily. But I think the issue of state police is a thing that we must address. To counter the evidence of possible abuse by state government, I would say that everywhere in the world where there is a collective authority, there's always the propensity to abuse, but independence of the judiciary, rule of law, separation of power, and checks and balances are the instrumentality to ensure that these are not abused. Then on the case of balance, I think it is better to have adequate security, protection of life and property, and then deal with possible excesses and using the instrumentality of the law. We cannot say because some governors may want to abuse and take police, then we leave the entire country to at the hands of the criminals, bandits, and the terrorists. And then in fact, even the Nigerian police can also be used by governors and federal authorities. That also means that we should scrap the police.
Thank you so much, sir. We've been speaking to the spokesman of the Senate, Senator Surajudeen Basiru. And that's how we can take on the show today. Obviously, don't forget what Mr. Vincent Onyekwelu shared with us in the beginning of the show concerning how to protect ourselves in this Yuletide season, holding our phones, winding up when we're driving, not picking calls when we are in the cars or in public transport, just doing the little things to protect ourselves a bit more while we're waiting for the government to do the remaining part of providing security outside our, the best we can do. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, ladies. It's a serious show today.
Yeah, very serious.
All right, that's how we can take. See you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.